guys, so I've been wanting to share my Lyme diagnosis story, but just have not had the right time, and so I've kind of been procrastinating a little bit, and now it just happens to be May, and May just happens to be Lyme Disease Awareness Month, so I guess it just kind of worked out. My voice is so gross. So in honor of Lyme Disease Awareness Month, I want to share my diagnosis story with you guys. Hopefully my voice gets better like as time goes on throughout the video, but so the last time that I made a diagnosis video, I told you guys that I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I explained that that is a musculoskeletal and nervous system disorder where basically your brain sends signals to your body that you're in pain or you feel sick all the time, even if nothing's wrong. For that sickness, there is no cure, there's no medicine. They just kind of tell you to suck it up and figure out how to manage it. So when someone tells you that you have fibromyalgia, it's pretty devastating because they're basically telling you that your life is over and you're never gonna feel good ever again. Like, that's such a crazy concept. Like, can you imagine going to sleep one day feeling completely fine, like completely healthy, maybe even like in shape, and then the next morning you wake up feeling kind of fluey, and then you start to feel achy, and then just more and more and more symptoms happen, and then you just never feel good ever again? Like, you just never knew that that was the last time that you were going to go to sleep feeling healthy. Like, that's insane. Like, that's crazy. But that's pretty much what doctors told me. And then I also told you that at one point I lived with a family friend who also had fibro. And she would always tell me that yes, fibro is real, but it's not a real diagnosis because it's not really telling you what's wrong. It's just saying like, oh yeah, something's wrong with you, but we don't know exactly what. They don't know what causes it or how to cure it, basically. And I didn't exactly understand, because for me, I just thought that, yeah, there's like a huge group of people that all have the same symptoms and like patterns, so how is it not, you know? So I moved back and time went on, and my mom has been part of like a Facebook group for fibromyalgia support and information, and one day a woman messaged her and told her that she had previously been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and then later realized that she actually had Lyme disease, and they both had a lot of the same symptoms. And so she encouraged my mom just to kind of like do a little bit more digging and see if maybe it was possible that I could have Lyme disease. So that's what my mom did, and she found a specialist, and we took some more tests, and we also tested for a few co-infections. If you don't know what Lyme disease is, it's basically an infection or a bug or a virus that you get when a tick bites you or a bug. Some people say that you can get Lyme from a mosquito, but I don't know. So basically, a bug bites you and it gives you an illness, and then it just kind of lives in your body and in your brain and just kind of terrorizes everything. And a co-infection is just a different kind of infection. The same way Lyme is an infection, there are other kinds of infections that you can get either from the same bug or a different bug that bites you, and it just gets into your bloodstream and game over. So we took the test, and then while we were waiting for the results, they started giving me different herbs and yeah, I think just different herbs and like natural supplements, and that kind of helped. Like, I was stable. And then they started me, okay. It was really interesting to have a different diagnosis that actually came with a treatment, you know, not a cure, but in a sense a cure. And that's when it kind of clicked for me that, oh yes, fibro was real. Like, all of the pain, all of the symptoms and everything that I experienced was real, but finding the cause of your pain and a diagnosis, like a different diagnosis are kind of like the same thing. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not a doctor, I'm just trying to share some information. Even though I was stable, I wasn't doing well. I still was super thin. I didn't really have much of an appetite, and just like mentally just all over the place, not really myself. And then at the beginning of February, or around the beginning of February, I started taking an antibiotic called doxycycline, and it was fine for a while. Actually, I hated that medicine. I feel like almost every time I took it, I just felt awful and not myself, and it was just super hard and really uncomfortable. And all of the herbs and the different medicines that they were giving me is essentially killing off the different infections. So when they're killing off those different infections or those different bugs, that process is called herxing. And that process is so painful. I can't even explain to you. It feels like every fiber in your body is like tense and uncomfortable and sore, and you're irritated and annoyed and sad and not at the same time, and just everything is just off. So it was really rough, and I took that for about 2 weeks. And then one day I fell asleep. No. Back up. One day my lips started to get swollen, and I had just started a new herb, so I thought that was causing it. That is what was causing it. And at first I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, look, mom. But then it happened the next day and the next day, and it would get like a little bit worse each time. And then one Sunday I fell asleep to take a nap, and I woke up with blisters all over my mouth, and I felt like I had like an itchy, like a sweater, but like around my head, and I was like trying to figure out what was wrong. So I went to the bathroom, and I had the worst rash, like all like here, and it just started to like spread and get worse and worse, and we thought it was the herbs, so we stopped that. And then we thought maybe it was turmeric, because I had just started using that for a detox. So we stopped that, and then finally we just stopped all of the medication, and it still was pretty bad and really uncomfortable. Oh, and my lips were numb. Like, I could not feel them at all, and they were pretty much like black around the outside and white on the inside. It was awful. It was the worst. Oh, and the blisters on top of all that. So finally, about 4 or 5 days into it, we went to the hospital, and they just said that I had an allergic reaction to the doxycycline, and to just, I don't know, they gave me like an allergy medication. So I took that, and I think it took about a week for the uncomfortableness to kind of go away and the hives, but the actual like color, like the rash itself, is still fading. Like, you can still see it a little bit. I don't know, it's still there. So I took a break from my medication for about 2 weeks to let it kind of clear, and then I started with the herbs again, slowly. And then just like last week or 2 weeks ago, they started me on 2 new antibiotics. So that has been so much better. I have been reacting so much better. I still have like small herxing episodes, but they're not anywhere near as extreme as they were before. And the worst part of the first round of the antibiotics was that I had to stop working, and I love my job. I love making coffee. I miss my friends. But it's fine, I'm gonna go back soon. I think it's a little bit confusing, or not confusing, just maybe really dependent on your body or your immune system. But some people, it looks like they completely heal from it. Some people go into remission, kind of like cancer, where it's dormant but it's not really affecting you and you don't really have symptoms. And some people are healing, and they've been healing for like years. So I'm not really sure exactly how things are gonna go. My mom and doctor keep telling me that it's not gonna be that long, maybe like a few months, 3 months, 6 months, I don't know. And like, hopefully that would be perfect. Honestly, that'd be so cool. But yeah, from here on out, the plan is to keep on taking the different herbs and my medication. I have been working out a lot and just kind of taking care of my body and my health and just my mind. As far as school, it's just so hard because right now I want to go to school, but when I think about it realistically, it's hard for me to know for sure if I could seriously handle that right now, but things are gonna happen the way that they're meant to be, so I'm not really stressed out about it. I'm just going to put in the effort and then let things work out. There are two things that I think about the most. The first one is, how has being sick changed me? And honestly, the person I was before I was sick, or even the person that I was 2 months ago, is completely different than the person I am now. And yeah, like, everyone says that, but like, the way that I think and my perspective and how I care about people, how I see people, how I treat myself and others, and the kind of people that I want to surround myself with, and my motivations, like, just everything has changed so much, you know? Like, when your health gets taken from you, it kind of just puts into perspective how much there is to appreciate. You know, you start to appreciate the small things, like being able to go out for like a short drive because the sun's out, or just having the energy to hang out with your friends. And I think that being sick has really made me understand the importance of relationships in your life. Who's really going to be there for you when it's uncomfortable or when you need them, not when it's convenient for them, you know? I feel like it's given me a lot more empathy, but at the same time, it's given me a lot more realization of the lack of empathy, like, amongst people. And that's one thing that I've always been passionate about, is knowing people and learning about them and helping them and giving them advice and like really being there for people. I just think that this is really like the first time that I've needed a friend for longer than one conversation or a few conversations, or like a week or two of like a really hard test or something. Like, this is the first time that I've really needed a friend, and it kind of, you know, puts into perspective how hard it is to find. The way that I see it is, like in a game, when you're playing against another team, you don't play down to their level, you want them to play up to your level, you know? So I'm not gonna stoop down. I want to always be like the most caring person and friend that I can be, but at the same time, I think being sick kind of forced me to think about what it looks like to respect myself. But it's also interesting to see how a few people have kind of shown up and been there and really just been able to kind of invest and have those conversations. I think being sick has made me a more positive person in general. I know everyone always says when you're upset or if I'm in pain, like, oh, just be positive and stay happy. And that's the thing, is like, I'm so positive. I think that I'm more positive now than I was before. Like, for me, I think it's a positive thing for me to only be in a little bit of pain, which is like strange because pain is just not a positive thing in general, you know? And the second thing is, what if I am sick forever? Honestly, I go back and forth because being sick almost feels normal now. So it's almost like I don't even know what I would expect if I was expecting to be healthy again. Like, I can't imagine what it feels like not to feel uncomfortable, or the way that my body feels now. And before I could still remember, but now not so much anymore. At the same time, when I'm really uncomfortable and in pain, like, yeah, sometimes I can't believe that it's possible that I could feel like that for the rest of my life, or that I'll never feel okay again or healthy again. It's honestly a grieving process. You grieve your health. Like, when your health is taken, it's not just your health, it's your potential, it's your capabilities, it's your mindset, it's your friends, it's your life. Like, it changes everything, you know? But at the same time, I know that being sick has changed my life for the better in so many more ways than just being sick. Because that's really, I feel like, the only negative thing about this illness. Other than that, it's connected me with so many people, and like I said, it's just built my character so much as a person and just changed me so much. I guess my mindset is, it is what it is, you know? If I'm sick forever and there's nothing I can do about it, then worrying isn't gonna change anything, being upset isn't gonna change anything. Just kind of goes back to that optimistic perspective of, I just kind of hold on to the good days, manage as much as I can, find the people that are going to support me and just keep them close, and I don't know, just find myself and stay myself, I guess. So now I'm really passionate about just sharing with other people who have fibromyalgia that maybe you don't have Lyme or maybe you don't have the same infections that I have, but it's possible that you could, or maybe another infection or another illness, but there has to be a cause for your pain. There has to be. You just gotta keep looking. Yeah, it's really exhausting, honestly, the mental part more than the pain, because you're kind of always just trying to balance your emotions. There's a lot of confusion and just fogginess that happens up here, a lot of forgetting, a lot of kind of like a disconnect from like your brain and your mouth sometimes. And when you have a chronic illness, you do kind of start to feel depressed, and a lot of times it comes with anxiety, and even those two are really hard to maintain and kind of stay positive and calm down. Like, that's so exhausting, and it looks like and on the inside, you know? So yeah, I'm kind of like a full-time actress. But yeah, that's basically my story, and I just kind of wanted to share with you guys so that you guys could really understand exactly what's kind of been happening through these past few months and why I've been so distant, and then I'll come back and then distance and come back, and sometimes I'm really happy and then sometimes I'm really sad, and I'm just all over the place, but this is why. So I've been doing really well recently, especially with these new medications, and I'm just hoping that this is the start to a quick recovery. So we'll see what happens, and I will keep on updating you guys, and please feel free to send me any messages or leave a comment and ask me questions or just chat with me. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thanks. Bye.